What's up, guys? Today we got a tying tutorial for you. We're going to be going over Todd's Wiggle Minnow. Super popular powder. We sell through tons of these, especially this time of year when we could potentially see some shad roll through the dam. But pretty easy tie. Just takes a little tweaking of the foam to get it just right. But yeah, here we go. All right, so in the vise here, I've got a TMC 8089, and I've got the nickel plated one, in a size 6. And before we get started, there's a couple little tools I want to talk about. One of them I made, and it's just this block of wood. And essentially I made it just to help cut the heads of these, or the bodies of these flies, consistently every time. So you can see here, I've got one that's already cutted and a hole drilled in to put the eyes, and a slot cut in the belly to slide on the hook. So like I said, just to make it super simple, I drilled these holes at the right angle on this little block of wood, and I just slide the foam down in that hole, and then I take my razor blade and just slice the foam at that correct angle. And then I put a hole, I've got a little spot to put a hole right there as well. Push that hole through that foam, and it gives you a perfect body every time. Like I said, cut at the right angle, eyes in the right spot, and all that good stuff. So that's how I get these. Just allows me to do a bunch at once. But to get started on the fly, I'm going to put down a really solid thread base. This particular one, I'm using red thread. Sometimes I tie these with like cerise or pink or like the fluorescent red. But this one today, just using solid red. One of the things that I like to do on the ones that I tie, that the commercial flies used to do, but they don't anymore, is I put that thread base well down the bend of the hook. It kind of gives like a hot spot below that fly that I think the fish pick up on really easy. So come down to the base of that hook, or into the bend of that hook quite a bit, a lot more than you would normally for sure. And I'm just laying down a solid thread base. What that thread base is going to do is going to allow that glue to give something to like really grab a hold of and stick when we glue that foam down. All right. So the first thing that we got to do before we start tying in some material is we're going to put a little mono loop on the butt of this. And all this does is allow that material something to kind of stick up onto. So I've just got some 25-pound Rio here. You can use 30-pound, 20-pound. I mean, it just needs to be some like relatively stiff mono. And I'm putting it in a loop already, and I'm sliding it up on that hook. And give it a couple wraps just to start to hold that right where I want it. I'm going to trim that mono. And one thing that I've noticed tying these is that you want this mono to stick out farther than you think. because when you put on the foam, it covers up more than you kind of realize. And ultimately, it's just going to help this tailing material from fouling up on the hook anyway. So what I have here is pretty good. I'm just going to cover up the rest of this mono with thread again, just to help give this foam a nice solid base to stick to. So, like I said, really long, I don't know if you can see that, but really long mono loop coming off the butt end of that. So this next material we got is Psudo Marabou. I've seen guys tie these with EP fiber, craft fur. I've used like polypropylene yarn in the past. And it took a long time of us kind of fooling with some different material to find the exact same stuff that the commercial ties are using. And we kind of settled on this Psudo Marabou. I'm not 100% sure if this is exactly what they're using on the commercial ties, but it is pretty dang close. So it is kind of difficult to work with, but you're just going to take a good chunk of it. It compacts down a lot. And again, we're going to tie this tail extra long because we can shave this down real easy when we're done to get it the perfect length. So a couple wraps just down to the base of that mono. Like that. And back up, kind of pinch in that material and covering that the whole way. I'm gonna back that off. I'm gonna trim this up just a hair. It's gonna stick out too far. That's something I tell people constantly. If you're tying a fly and something's not laying how you want, back off and fix it. That one was an easy fix. All right. Then I'm going to tie in a couple pieces of just UV Pearl Krystal Flash. You can use, I believe there's a color called Gray Ghost that I've used a lot before. But any of those like Minnow colored Krystal Flashes will work just fine. And I've got like 4 strands of it here. Just gonna tie it in so there's a little bit on each side. All right. And like I said, you can see that I've got this shoved down well into that bend just to kind of hold it in place where the body's going to go. That's pretty much it as far as tying. I can wrap this up, give it a finish. It doesn't have to be pretty because it's all going to get covered. All right, I've got my pre-cut foam. What I like to do is slide it on first to make sure that it fits. Kind of position it. and they can be a little tricky to get on there, but just kind of work it down on there, make sure it fits exactly how I want, and then we'll take it off, put our glue down, and glue it. So it looks pretty good. Take it off and start to lay my glue base. So I've just got some Loctite gel. I like it the best when I'm working with foam. You can certainly use like a brush on, but decent bit of glue line there, and we're going to slide that back on the same way that we had it already. That glue is going to get everywhere, but that is okay. It's just going to help everything set up. Now, if you're working this on, remember that glue is going to dry pretty quick. So that's another reason why I like to set it up before. You can kind of keep it moving and keep that from setting too much, but it's going to set up pretty fast. So get that into position, and then I just pinch it and hold it. And I'll look at the belly, make sure I've got that belly exactly how I want. Try to get as little gap in there as possible. Most of the time you're going to have a little bit of gap on that belly, but we can put a little bit more glue down and give that foam a squeeze to cover it back up. And so I'll show you, flip that over, you can see I've got a little bit of gap there. I'm just going to fill that space with glue. And squeeze that together. Got to hold it for 15, 20 seconds or so. Give that glue a chance to stick. Try not to glue your fingers to the fly, because that will happen. All right, once I get to that position, just to clean it up, I just take a scrap piece of cardboard or something, and I'm just going to scrape away that glue. Maybe give it a couple more pinches. Good. All right, that body's on there. I'm going to trim up this Krystal flash. And if that tail is too long for you, you can open your scissors just slightly, and you can just kind of drag it through there. And it gives you a nice taper. And then we can cut that Krystal flash again to match. These, I definitely like that Krystal flash to be a little on that shorter side. All right, moving on to the eyes. So, the bag of eyes here. These are Hareline's plastic peg eyes. I'll put a link in the description down below, but they just have these real long peg on them. And that's what we're going to stick into the hole where we drilled for the eyes. But in order to do that, the peg is a little too long. So we're just going to cut that peg down. And then put a dot of glue in that hole. You can certainly use just like a flat stick-on eye, but I find using these peg eyes makes these eyes way, way, way more durable. All right, there's one. I'm gonna drop my other one. You can see on the bottom, still have a little bit of gap. You can usually get rid of that completely, but a little bit of gap is not gonna hurt it. All right. Got those eyes done on, and we are almost done. I've just got a red Sharpie here. I like the fine tip to do this, but we're just gonna draw that gill line behind the eye. Just like that. You got it. It's Todd's Wiggle Minnow. And I'm just noticing the very tip of this is maybe not cut perfect, but we can trim that up just a hair. I do like to try to make sure the very tip of these flies are as perfect as possible, because although most of the time when we're fishing these, we're just casting them out and kind of letting them dead drift or twitching them every once in a while. The fly was originally designed to be stripped and give it almost like a Rapala action. So if you want that, it is important that this head be as perfect as possible. Just like, looks pretty good now. But that's it. Todd's Wiggle Minnow, tie some up. Like I said, I'm gonna put links in the description to the material, so you can check that stuff out. You can swing by the shop and buy some of these, or we've got the materials to do it as well. Appreciate you guys watching.